right, you guys, how's it going? And welcome. Thank you for checking out this video. This is something that's really near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I've been wanting to share for a long time. And I know the title, How I Cured TMJ and Chronic Pain, and you can too, seems like, really? How is this even possible without being on medication or pain pills or you name it, whatever it is? I'll give you a little backstory. First, I just want to say I'm not a doctor. I can't prescribe anything. And if you are in severe pain, please go see a doctor. That's the best way that you're going to get a real accurate diagnosis. But first and foremost, I've been experiencing chronic pain, specifically in my lower back and leg for a long time. Probably since I was in high school. I'm in my mid-30s now. And it's, like any pain, it's annoying. You wake up, sometimes it's debilitating, it's hard to get out of bed, it can put you in a bad mood. The list goes on. And if you're watching this video, I'm sure you have or are currently experiencing any of this. Chronic pain is a really interesting one though. And for me, about a year and a half ago, I started developing a little clicking in my jaw. And it was painless. I didn't think really much of it. But over the span of a year, it started getting more and more painful. And it got to a point where it was so painful in my jaw, in one or both sides of my jaw, that I'd wake up in the morning with a migraine headache. And it was unbelievable. I had never really even had a migraine headache until I experienced this. And it would literally put me out for the day or half the day, and I was miserable. So I went on Facebook, I went on the Hive Mind, and I said, hey, does anybody have any suggestions about how they can help? And I'm all about natural remedies. I was doing acupuncture, chiropractic, I was massaging my jaw, I was taking supplements for relaxation, and I was just trying everything possible, from floating to saunas to massage, and nothing really seemed to get in there. Acupuncture helped a little bit, but then it would creep back in. And so I went back on the thread that I'd posted a year prior, and one of my friends, and I'll make a shout out, Yogi Daniel from Running Canyon Yoga, Daniel Overberger, he put down, you need to read this book, and it helped me cure my back pain. And the book is The Mindbody Prescription by John E Sarno, and I'm just gonna put this up here, maybe you can see it. And this book, I was like, how can a book cure somebody of pain? And so I was really curious, and so what I did is I went and I got the book on Audible, because I love listening to audiobooks as I'm working or driving or whatever, and I listened to it. And this was in the height of my pain. I was literally at my wit's end, and I wasn't taking any pain pills. I was using some kratom and cannabis to help sleep and supplement. I'd even gone as far as to go get a mouth guard that I could sleep with at night, really expensive, and it didn't help. Nothing helped. And so in the height of the pain, I download this book, I start listening to it, and something miraculous happened. As I'm finishing the book, my pain literally was lifted, and I didn't experience any more chronic pain in my jaw, and I literally couldn't believe it. And I'm about to tell you what this book is all about. And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not prescribing anything, but I will give you my experience of how this helped me. So John E Sarno is a medical doctor, and he's been specifically working with back pain. He's passed now, but for almost his entire career, he's been working with chronic pain. And people were coming to him in the worst of conditions, where they had already they'd had surgeries, they were going to other doctors, and literally they would come to him on their last leg. And he noticed a theme throughout all of his patients, that there was some sort of trauma associated with this pain. And over time, he started making diagnoses and putting things together, and he started to actually realize that this pain wasn't derived in the body where people thought it was. In fact, it was derived from the brain, creating a pain response to actually help relieve suppressed emotions. And I'm doing a version of paraphrasing or summarizing this just to how I understand it. And please, I urge you to go read the book. I urge you to explore. But essentially, we all live with repressed emotions. And the emotions that specifically are the ones that are the hardest to express and the ones we're told not to are anger and rage. And I bet if you are like me from a very young age, you were told not to be angry, not to throw a tantrum, not to express yourself, be a good boy or a good girl, and really not let yourself express this very natural and normal human emotion. And what happens when we don't express this anger or rage or even acknowledge it, it gets suppressed, and it gets suppressed, and it gets stored, and it gets trapped within the body. And now the rage and anger are the two sort of most feared emotions that either our society or us as humans don't want to express. And so those are the two specifically, and even shame and grief, but those are two specifically that are really like the seed of where this pain comes from. And so what your body does is it creates a response he called it TMS, which is tension myositis syndrome. And essentially what's happening is the body is depriving oxygen and blood flow in certain parts, specifically like the shoulders, the neck, the lower back, the legs. And this lack of oxygen is creating a pain. But in fact, there's nothing actually wrong with your body, and this can be reversed. A lot of people think like they see an x-ray and they have a bulging disc, and they think the bulging disc is the source of their pain, where in fact, most of us walk around with a misalignment or some sort of disc bulging with zero pain, but it just so happens that the body sources the pain in a similar spot to where you've been experiencing it already, or something's already a little off to actually disguise and mask it. So what can you do with all this? What did I do with all this? Me, being a yoga instructor, being all about natural remedies and holistic healing, I started doing a lot of self-exploration. And what I did was I started looking at all the ways in my life that I had suppressed anger. I'd suppressed rage. And I didn't allow myself to feel and experience these. And I literally, like a fine-tooth comb, went through my entire life from as early as I could remember, all the way up until now, like going through like chapters in a book. When I was younger, I was sent to India to go to boarding school as part of the Sikh 3HO Kundalini religious, as part of what we did. It's part of what all the parents did and sent their kids off. It's what Yogi Bhajan wanted. And I don't want to say victim to this because I don't think anyone's truly a victim, but I was sent to India and I was really young and it was super traumatic and I got extremely sick, but I let myself explore the rage that came with that. And in fact, even the unconscious rage, and that's actually what Dr. Sarno talks about. It's the rage that never even makes it to the surface, that we suppress so fast that it never even sees the light of day. And so I went through methodically in every part of my life, and I started to look at where I was angry, where I was rageful, where I was sad. Sadness is also one of those, where I held a lot of grief. And also where I felt bad for not allowing myself to experience all these feelings. And what I did was I acknowledged them. I acknowledged that they existed. I acknowledged allowed them to come to the surface to then pass. Did it look pretty? No, actually. And many times I had to come here in the yoga room and do some primal screaming or take yoga mats and slam them down on the floor, but just to give that anger and rage an outlet. And I'm not actually telling you to go just get wildly angry and rage and spiteful, but if you have an outlet upon where you can let that rage come up in a safe place, in fact, not even where you're directing it at somebody specific, more you're just bringing it up to the surface to release it, it's very cathartic and therapeutic. So I went through every part of my life and I tried to like nitpick all of these places as little as not getting the bigger piece of cake at my birthday party to as big as having falling outs with my parents and close family members and getting fired from jobs, and you name it, the whole spectrum. And as I was doing this, I felt the pain lift. I literally, like within the course of hours, I would feel things lift. And I swear to God, after 2 days of listening to this book and doing these practices, I literally had no more jaw pain. And I thought it was a miracle. I literally did. And what I told myself too is that my body is okay, essentially meaning that my body's not permanently damaged, or my body is not physically wrong for doing this. In fact, I kept repeating, this is a product of my brain. My brain is actually creating this to help avoid feeling these really intense emotions. And so, again, this is not a diagnosis. This is not telling you what to do. This is telling you my experience with this. But if I could recommend something, it would be this. It would be, get this book, John E Sarno, Mindbody Prescription, and either get it in hardback or go ahead and do Audible. I like Audible because I've listened to it 3 times already, and I just get more and more every time because I don't have the time to always sit down and just read. But if you're a hardback or a paperback person, go and get that. Read it. Read it not just once, but read it multiple times. And then I encourage you, like an explorer, to try to pinpoint all the places in your life where potentially you have this unconscious suppressed rage that needs to have an avenue to release. And I encourage you to write. I encourage you to talk it out. I encourage you to get it out. I encourage you to acknowledge it and release it, so that way it can lift and have a venue to actually be released. And then I encourage you to remind yourself that you are whole and complete, that your body is not messed up, that you are not ruined or damaged from this. In fact, this is part of the human experience, and you are complete and you are whole. And just maybe you will find a little bit of relief for yourself. And it's wild. There's a video I'm going to post in the link that gives you about a 20-minute summary of this entire book, and you can go online, research this, the Mind-Body Prescription. It talks about the limbic system and how this is a physical place in our body that stores and feels emotions. It's not some woo-woo stuff. It's scientifically proven. And so if you need to, get your teeth into some of those scientific facts about what's going on here. But it's helped me so much in my life that I felt like I had to share it with you. And so hopefully you can get a little benefit from this. Again, it's called the Mind-Body Prescription. And this is very much about what we do in our yoga classes. We're Yoga Galactica, and we teach yoga classes to help people release and give yourself an avenue to feel and to express and to get into your body and get away from pharmaceutical drugs and get more into the embedded DNA of your body that naturally knows how to heal itself. And so we're here for you. If you need any guidance, any assistance, please reach out. We love you. We thank you. My name is Siri. Have an amazing rest of your day. And here's to a pain-free, happy life. God bless.